Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things that I'm troubled by a lot of discussion about waters of the United States, because we've been in and out of court for over 25 years. We know that EPA has not satisfied at least the Supreme Court's idea of what are waters of the United States, but yet this body fails to act. We all have a pretty good time beating up on regulatory agencies, and I will not defend the process. I think that clearly waters of the United States is going to have a very dramatic and significant impact on small entities. But just to lay down a marker, it's up to this body to step in after this kind of up and down litigation. And we do have an access for small business. They're called committee hearings, and we like to hear from small entities. I want to get to your discussion about retrospective review and why it is so significant under current existing mandates. After 10 years, if there had been a finding that there was a significant impact on, substantial impact on a significant number of entities, that they would be required to automatically do a 10-year review. You suggested in your comments that we should look at how that retrospective review is being performed. I'm wondering if you've had a chance to review a bill that I've introduced that has come through unanimously, the HISGAC committee, which is S 1817. Have you had a chance to take a look at that bill?
I have not, Senator.
What that bill would do is it would automatically require for any major rule, regardless of any process that was gone through to begin with, once we've designated a major rule, there would have to be a process put in place when that rule is being promulgated to basically notify everyone, all the stakeholders, that this is the retrospective analysis that needs to be done into the future. And so I call it the prospective retrospective, because it wouldn't deal with the body of legislation that we have, or a regulation that we have outstanding, but it would in fact set down a marker for a process for substantial or for significant review of any major regulation. My question to you, and I guess if you can't answer it today, is would that bill satisfy the concern that you have as a small business advocate that we would be in fact engaged in requiring retrospective review?
Senator, I'd really like to take a look at it and see whether that addresses the issue. I'm open to looking at it and working with you and your staff to see whether there are ways in which we can strengthen the retrospective review. As I said, it's one of our priorities as well.
We have another bill that's been knocking around that would basically put into place a commission that would in fact do retrospective review, or at least review rules, because one of the things that we see when we asked agencies, how many of your rules are aging out of the system, no longer applicable, are make work, paperwork, but they still are doing it because no one takes a look at the rule. We find that they don't find a lot of their rules are aged out. And so I think we need a second look and an independent look, which I think the chairman was getting at. One of the other kind of challenges that we have in all of this is making sure that for many of our entities, they have the ability to help small business come into compliance. Most of the agencies, I think, they want to help small business come into compliance, but yet we see this frustration when it's gotcha moments as opposed to cooperation. What could we do to strengthen the agency's mandate to help small business come into compliance with new regulation?
Actually, there is currently a requirement that the agencies actually put together a compliance document.
If they were doing that, we wouldn't get complaints.
Understood.
So we think there's a failure to actually perform that function.
Understood. Well, we work with the agencies, and we've put that in our comment letters as well, that the agency has not come up with the compliance document. So that's another area that we could study, certainly, and try to come up with something that might force that a little bit more.
Mr. Chairman, if I just have a few more minutes, the subcommittee that I'm ranking on with Senator Langford has, and Senator Ernst sits on as well, has been doing a lot of work on various proposals. And I think some of the suggestions that you provided today should help inform our work on that subcommittee. And so we'd like to engage your office and the work that you do in reviewing some of these attempts at bringing more people into the process, helping small business in particular have a voice in what that regulation does, but then on the backside, making sure that the compliance requirements are being met. And so I'd love to have a visit with you, review the packages that we've been working on, and see if we can enhance those based on your experience at the Small Business Advocacy.
Certainly.
Group.
Thank you. Certainly.